Namaste and welcome. I am Gloria Grace Rand. I'm so delighted that you are with us today on another edition of Live, Love, Engage. And I am looking forward to having a wonderful discussion today with our guest. And she is quite the remarkable woman. Her name is Natalee Clarke-Richards, born in Kingston, Jamaica, and now lives in South Florida. And she changes lives through her words, actions, and creativity. I like that. Purpose-driven author, personal development coach, speaker, and the founder of Love Out Loud, LLC. I love that too. Awesome. Natalie has dedicated herself to assisting women to become the best versions of themselves. And having embarked on over a decade's journey of self-love, self-care, empowerment, and losing weight. I can relate to that. She has lost 55 pounds in 1 year. Woohoo! Congratulations. Awesome. And is maintaining a healthy weight through a healthy eating lifestyle and exercising. And she is excited to share her journey and strategies and results with you. She's also got 20, if that wasn't enough, she's got 20 years involvement in legal and banking industries. She's got a degree in healthcare administration and an MBA. Holy crud, sorry. She loves serving people and helps them achieve incredible results. And she's inspiring and empowering family and friends as well. So there's more, but maybe we'll talk about that later about who else you impact in your life. But first off, welcome, Natalie.
Thank you, Gloria. It's so good to be here.
Well, we are glad to have you. And I thought we'd start off by asking you a little bit about your journey. So what precipitated that decades-long journey of self-love and self-care? I have a feeling something must have happened to kind of spark you to say, okay, enough is enough. Am I right?
It's always that moment where I got up one day, I looked in the mirror and I'm like, wait a minute, I don't even recognize myself. What happened to Natalie? It's like, I gained all this weight. I was just on this autopilot of going to work, coming home, just doing routine stuff. I wasn't taking care of myself. I was just eating whatever and doing the mommy thing and I lost myself within that process. So I remember one day looking in the mirror and I was like, I don't even recognize this person.
Yeah.
I took on this journey. I said, I feel overwhelmed, exhausted, frustrated, and I know that's not how I'm supposed to show up in life. So, but I have to recognize that and change it.
Right.
So I started journaling. I did a lot of workshops, seminars, self-development programs. And they've really, really shifted how I was showing up in life. They helped me to see what it is that was my self-limiting beliefs that was causing me to feel stuck and overwhelmed.
Right.
And it was amazing. It was eye-opening just to realize that things that I didn't even know were there were actually the reasons why I was hiding,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So once I was able to recognize those things and just start eliminating and say, okay, this is not serving me. Actually, I remember when this happened, I was I didn't cause it, or I didn't have that person said, stop being a nuisance to people, and me taking that on, So I started eliminating those things and started working on me and what I want to do, what will serve me purpose. So I did a mindset shift. I took there are certain words I don't use, I went very radical. I changed how I was, my speech, the language I use and all that stuff. And then I started on my body, my physical body. And I started eating healthy. I started exercising and taking care of my temple. And it was just amazing how once I started doing that, my body reacted. I shedded weight. I looked more moisturized. I looked radiant instead of dull. And it it was quite an experience to see the transformation happening mentally, physically, and spiritually. So it was a great journey. I lost the 55 pounds, and that was very, very awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I just kept going with it because now certain foods does not entice me. I can control myself. I can eat a cookie instead of 4 cookies, you know.
Right.
So yeah, the discipline happened, and I talked about those things that I use: the intention, commitment, alignment, accountability, and discipline. I actually incorporated all those things in my life to get the results that I wanted. And it allowed me to journal, and then eventually my book, and me wanting to coach women who are showing up this way too, are in that space because I was there. So now I can tell them that I am proof that you can actually shift this and
Right.
become the best version of yourself and do what it is that inspires you and you feel in your heart is your purpose.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You know, one of the things I want to just point out for someone, you know, either watching the podcast or listening, is the fact that this wasn't an overnight process, you know, especially
Yeah.
when dealing with weight. You know, a lot of people, they go on diets, and I know I've been there, done that years ago, and expecting overnight results. But you had, you know, you had to work through it. You took time. And the other important part is working on the mindset, because really, I think mindset is what goes hand in hand with when you're dealing with eating issues, is you've got to
Yeah.
get your head on straight before you can handle that. So kudos to you for doing that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. You're absolutely right. It's exact because I started many programs. I did all sorts of, if you introduced me to a program back in 2015, I would have joined on with you when I started.
Yeah.
But it honestly was shifting my mindset because I would start and then I would self-sabotage. I lost 10 pounds and then I'd go right back to whatever. I was like, oh, this is too much work. This is what I, you know.
Yeah.
So you're right. Once I made a conscious effort to shift how I was thinking, and I was able to conquer that. I was able to, I could get up at 5 a.m. and get to the gym at 5:30 and I didn't feel tired or,
Right.
you know, so it was definitely.
Yeah. It's amazing what you can do when you, well, I think when you're, number one, when you're committed to it, and when you realize that it's like, you know, this is important to me. I want to take care of me. Now, you mentioned that you were a mom too. So how many kids do you have?
I have a son. He's 12.
You have a son. Okay. Yeah. And that also, a lot of times that happens to us when we become mothers, is we start putting the kids first and forget about us.
Yeah.
It's so important. I'm so glad that you were able to, how old was he at the time? Was he younger when you started this?
When I started, yeah, he was younger.
Yeah.
And I remember he would motivate me. He was like, "You can do this, Mom. You can run."
Oh, how sweet.
So it was really nice. Some days he would take his bike and he would ride along and I would try to keep up with him. And he's like, "You can do this."
But that's awesome. That's awesome that you're able to model that behavior for him. So hopefully when he, you know, becomes an adult, he'll be able to do that. So that's awesome. Now, I know I mentioned a little bit in the bio that you are an author as well. So so tell me a little bit about, so what is this book that you have? And I think you would have a copy of it, right?
I do. It's Love Out Loud, my book. And I am also an Amazon best-selling author now.
Very good. Congrats. Yay.
Thank you. And, you know, over the years, I've always been journaling once I started, you know, the personal development side of working through. And I realized that it was actually my book. Each chapter I was journaling. Yeah, it was my book. So what is documented in there are my experiences. Growing up in Jamaica and moving here, and I live in South Florida, it's like, it's two different things. In Jamaica, there's like, I know my parents love me, but it's not something that was told to you or told to me. So,
Okay.
it's all those things that I went through. And one particular chapter I wrote about my high school journey where I was in, I think it was the 8th grade or something. And I was, as a girl, we are that time of the month. And I remember I was having some cramps and I decided I was going to walk to the nurse's station to get some Tylenol or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I saw the school principal. She was walking on the corridor and she said, "Where are you going, young lady?" And I told her my situation and she pointed back to my class and she said, "Stop being a nuisance."
Oh man.
Yes.
Wow.
And I remember that. And I turned around, I went back to my class. I sat there in pain. And I remember looking up the word nuisance. And it was basically you being an annoying person constantly. I thought to myself, whoa, I've never had an encounter with my school principal. She's never had to deal with me. And here she is calling me a nuisance.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so I went into hiding because I never, ever want to be a nuisance to anyone.
Of course not. Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't realize that was running me. Yeah. Like I would literally, my husband always laughs because I would be coming from the grocery store with 10 bags and I won't ask for help because I don't want to be a bother. I'll just hang them all over my body because that thing was running me for years. And it was in journaling and through the work the self-work I was doing that came up. I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what it was. Yeah. So, I talked about my experiences and how I had to shift those so I could show up differently. So I can ask for support and feel supported and accepted and let it in and let in love and all those things.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I want to hear a lot more about this because I especially want to get to, in a moment, a little bit about how you are specifically helping women out with this. So, but we're going to pause for just a moment for a public service announcement from the CDC.
Okay.
COVID-19, better known as coronavirus, has spread throughout the world. Symptoms of this respiratory disease may include fever, cough, and shortness of breath. These symptoms may show up 2 to 14 days after exposure. If you are experiencing these symptoms and have come in contact with or are in an area with an ongoing outbreak, please call a hotline and/or consult a physician. Clean and disinfect high-touch surfaces as well. For more information, please visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. Thank you. Oh, yes, the days we're living in, isn't it wonderful that we have to deal with this? And we are, and in fact, maybe actually let's jump in there for a moment and tell me, are you working with clients right now and how are you helping them get through this situation that we're in at the moment?
Yeah. Right now, even on Monday, I posted something on my Facebook, on my social media, talking about COVID-19 and for people who feel overwhelmed and frustrated to know that this too shall pass. Don't feel stuck in this situation, but shift your mindset. Like, I know we're supposed to be staying inside, but maybe you can take a quick walk where you're not socializing with anyone, but you're just getting fresh air. And I posted a picture of the sunset that I saw. It was so gorgeous. And, it shifted my mind from the current situation. And I just admired how beautiful it was. And, the sun is still shining for us. So there is hope.
Absolutely.
So it's just having those moments where you take a walk or listen to a book or journal your thoughts and just take some time for yourself to get away from the current situation so you're not feeling in despair, so,
absolutely.
Yeah, so that's what I recommend to my clients and to my social media followers.
Yeah. Good advice. So how do you work with folks generally? I mean, obviously, probably right now you may be doing it online, but normally when we're not in situations like this and maybe also maybe talk a little bit about, what do you specifically help your clients with?
Yeah. Okay. So normally I do workshops, but now we're unable to do that. So I'm moving to online, and I have one that's coming up April 2nd. So it's a Zoom online workshop. But what I do is I have it structured where we discuss, I tell my story, I share how it is that I was able to shift, and it's interactive. We get them to do activities, write what it is that they think their purpose is, or what,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not, it's I do it for the audience. I feel how it is, and then that's how we transition with the classes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interactive and people get value from it.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite part about doing the coaching? What have you found? Yeah.
My favorite part, it lights me up when people tell me that they're able to actually feel fear and still move forward to what it is that they want.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
it's actually because that's how I did.
Okay.
I was very fearful to start this whole thing, but I felt it. We always will have fear, but still take the step. And that is very rewarding to me when people feel fear and move forward anyway and accomplish what it is that they want to do, and can celebrate with that at the end. That actually brings me joy.
That's awesome. What I'm trying to think what I know you mentioned earlier today about a little bit about like journaling and things, and what would be, like, say, your one piece of advice for someone who really is feeling like they've kind of lost themselves and they're not you know they don't recognize themselves in the mirror. What would be like maybe a first step that they should take?
So the first step is awareness. So once you realize that, man, I've lost myself, then you are aware and you can actually take action. So I always say, we're not islands. We're not meant to stand alone. So reach out to someone. And that's where I feel like professional coaching is so valuable, because we're coming from a place of neutrality. We're not judging your situation, but we're helping you to move past the stuck feeling. Yeah. So I say, seek support. It's okay. It's okay to get other people to share how they've overcome and the strategies they've used and the tools, and you can see if it works for you, and move and take action into shifting from that overwhelmed or stuck feeling that you have, because we've all been there, where you just know there's more in you than what you're doing, but you just don't know what to do. And so just having a coach asking you some powerful questions can really, really shift you.
Yeah, that's so good. I love that advice, because it is true. And I think, awareness is certainly important, but being willing to ask for help. And that is something that not everybody can do easily.
Yeah.
So it's, because I know it's something I've struggled with in the past, because again, I grew up where I felt that I needed to be independent, kind of like you with, not wanting to be a nuisance. So it's sort of the same thing. I had to, it's like, no, I can do it myself, and I can fix it. I'll Google it, whatever.
Yeah.
But I've learned in working with coaches and even other, therapists and things like that, that a lot of times this is why you need outside help, is because you have blinders and you can't see what's right in front of you a lot of times, and that's why you need someone else's perspective. And then when they say it, you'll go like, oh wow.
Yeah, it's true. That's been my experience too. And it's funny, a friend of mine was sharing how I was showing up back in the day. And she was like, oh my gosh, you were in this box. And she described the box, and she was like, you were in the box inside another box. Aww. And, just being able to open up and be myself now. She's like, this is amazing. This is so beautiful. Like, she loves talking to me because and you don't know that that's how you are showing up. You know, you think that's the normal, or you know,
right,
just who
yeah,
you are, but it's not.
yeah.
Yeah.
We are all meant to shine, because I believe we are all, you know, we've got God inside of us, and God wants
Yeah,
to shine and help one another. So yeah, so that's
absolutely.
awesome that you can help people like that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So if someone wants to be able to, you know, get some help from you, and or find your book, you know, how's the best way to get a hold of you?
Awesome. I'm glad you asked. My book is on Amazon, and I'll share the link with you. But if they type in my name, Natalie, with two E's, Natalee, Clarke, with an E, Richards, then they will find it. Love Out Loud is the name of the book.
Okay.
And I also have an email. It's info@loveoutloud.llc.
Okay.
And on social media, on Instagram, I am Love Out Loud _ with Natalie.
Ah.
Yes. And on Facebook, it's my name, Natalee Clarke-Richards.
All right. Awesome. Well, I will include all of that in the show notes. So in case you are listening somewhere where you can't get access to a pen and paper, not to worry, go to gloriarand.com, go to iTunes, where they'll also have, I think, the show notes there, and you'll be able to get it. And so, yeah, I just want to thank you so much for being on the show today, because you shared a lot of awesome information. So thank you, Natalie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Gloria. It was a pleasure.
You're welcome. Keep loving out loud.
Yes.
And just a reminder for those of you watching and listening that if you want to be able to know when our next episode comes out, make sure that you are subscribing to us on the podcast platform of your choice, or subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Gloria Rand Video, all one word, and leave us a review, and rating would be wonderful as well. I would greatly appreciate that. And until next time, as always, I encourage you to live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.
Awesome.